The sound of boots against marble echoed through the briefing hall as Captain Amelia Cross entered, her posture straight, her jaw set like steel. Every pair of eyes turned toward her, some curious, some mocking. To the older men seated around the table, she was an anomaly, a young woman wearing the insignia of command in a room that had long forgotten what courage and silence looked like. The air was thick with tension, the scent of coffee and polished brass hanging heavy. She wasn't supposed to lead this mission, not after what happened 3 years ago in Kandahar. But destiny has a cruel, poetic way of forcing those who tried to break you to face the very strength they underestimated. The general leaned back in his chair, his ribbons gleaming proudly on his uniform, a smirk tugging at the corner of his mouth. When Amelia's name had been read as the mission commander, the room had erupted in whispers. Some laughed under their breath, others exchanged doubtful glances. The general didn't hide his reaction. His chuckle filled the silence, cutting deeper than any insult could. She felt the sting but said nothing. She simply unfolded the mission file, the sound of paper snapping like thunder in the quiet hall, and began to speak. Her voice was calm but commanding, the kind of tone that came not from rank but from experience. Every word carried weight, the weight of lives she'd once saved, the weight of comrades she'd once buried. She outlined her plan for Operation Sandvale, a high-risk rescue deep in hostile territory. And as the general's smirk deepened, so did her resolve. He questioned her strategy, mocked her tactics, even doubted her ability to lead. But Amelia had learned something long ago in the dust and blood of war. Respect is never given. It is earned, and sometimes it must be taken back by force of truth. Years ago, she had been just another pilot, a name on a roster barely noticed. Then came the night that changed everything. Her squadron was ambushed during an extraction, their comms jammed, their escape blocked by enemy fire. Every instinct told her to retreat, but she didn't. She flew back into the storm alone under anti-air fire with nothing but her courage and a single shot at saving the lives of her men. When her helicopter landed, riddled with holes, carrying 6 wounded soldiers who should have died that night, the base went silent. For her actions, she received a medal no one in that room had ever seen up close, the Medal of Honor. But that moment had cost her everything. The injuries had grounded her for a year. The whispers had followed her. She got lucky. She was reckless. She shouldn't have been there. Yet here she was again, standing before men who doubted her, ready to lead another impossible mission. Not for pride, not for revenge, but because she believed in the people still out there, the ones depending on her decisions. When the general laughed the second time, something in her shifted. She closed the mission file, took a slow step forward, and rested her hand lightly on her uniform, right over the medal that gleamed beneath her jacket. The movement was small, almost unnoticeable, but the room froze. The sunlight hit the edge of the ribbon, and the faint glimmer of gold spread across the table like a flash of memory. The laughter stopped. Every soldier in the room straightened their posture, recognizing the unmistakable symbol of ultimate valor. No one dared speak. The same general who mocked her fell silent, his face pale, his voice lost. He had once read the official report about her. He knew what she had done. The air in the hall grew heavy, and for the first time it wasn't her voice that commanded silence, and it was her story. The room didn't see a woman anymore. They saw a warrior who had walked through fire and returned with proof that courage knows no gender, no rank and no apology. Later that night, as the mission launched under her command, Amelia stood at the hangar doors watching her team prepare. The desert wind carried whispers of doubt, but it also carried something stronger: respect. She didn't need validation anymore. She didn't need their applause. She only needed to make sure that when dawn broke over that horizon, her people made it home. When the radio crackled with the first confirmation of success hours later, the base erupted. The same general who had laughed now stood at attention as her unit returned, alive and victorious. He walked forward, saluted her, and whispered words only she could hear, but she didn't need them. Respect unspoken is the loudest kind. As the sun rose over the base, Amelia stood quietly, the medal on her chest catching the light once more. It wasn't a symbol of pride anymore, it was a reminder. A reminder that strength isn't about shouting louder, it's about standing taller when others doubt you. She had carried her pain, her fear, her loss, and turned it into something eternal. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you of the power of courage, silence, and perseverance, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to Legends of History. Your support helps keep these stories of bravery and hope alive for those who believe that true heroes rise not from glory, but from grit. Special request, comment below. Respect isn't given, it's earned. If you believe that real strength speaks when the world goes silent,